Hi everybody, it's Lou Sims from Lou Sims Papercrafter, and I'm here today as it's the launch of a new stamp collection from Tonic Studios called Garden Party. Within the collection there are various different stamp sets, and I've used 3 of them to create this card. This card was used as part of the launch, and I'll lift it up so you can see it a little bit better, and I've created it so it gives the illusion that you're travelling further into the card, and it uses lots of different elements from 3 of the stamp sets being released today. So let's have a quick look at the stamp sets. So the first one we're going to have a look at is called Celebrate Success. On the stamp set you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 characters or critters. They've even got their own little clothes and an extra bow tie and a hat, umbrella. And you've then got things that are related to celebrating success. So you've got like a graduation hat, bags, it could be new job, it could be first day at school. But saying that, then you've got some smaller floral elements, fauna, that you can actually use for other things as well. So that's one of the stamp sets, and that is Celebrate Success. As you can see, it's an A5 sheet, and it's absolutely chocker. Every bit that can be filled with an image has been filled with an image. Now let's have a look at the next set. The next set I used on my card was Celebrate Life. Again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little characters that you can use on your actual stamps. Again, they've got clothes, hats that you can put on them. There's wonderful balloons, even bow ties, a little crown. You've got things like the presents. You've also got a huge cake, and if you cut the candle off, that would make a wonderful wedding cake. And again, another stamp set that's absolutely chocker full. There is so many images there that are just so versatile. And the final stamp set I've used to create my card is the sentiment stamps. And these are Celebrate Sentiments. Again, another A5 stamp set. And again, absolutely filled to the rafters, full of sentiments. You've got panels that you can stamp into. You've got generic sentiments, everyday sentiments like it's your birthday, congratulations, get well soon, you did it, awesome job, for the best teacher. And then you've got also sentiments that link to actually a lot of the little animal creatures, little critters that are being released. So you've got thank you very much, I heard you were leaving, happy birthday, to somebody special. So these sentiments will work with this garden party collection, but also enrich your other stamp sets that you've got and can be used and utilised from there. So they're the 3 main stamp sets that I've used to create my card. So what I'll do is I'll tidy up, I'll gather all my supplies, and I'll explain to you how I actually made the card. Now I've begun by creating all the shapes I'll need for my actual card, and I've used the background layers from using the dotted oval layering die set from Tonic Studios. It's a wonderful selection of layering dies in an oval shape, and they create a fantastic backgrounds, and you can see all the little dots come through absolutely beautifully on the die cut. So I've got my base layer, and I've actually cut out one of the layers, and then I've cut it down again, and another layer is going to sit in there. I will raise this layer up so it looks like we've got a little bit of a tunnel effect going on within the card, to make it look like we've got lots of different depth and dimension with the different characters. So I'll put them to one side for the moment. I have already stamped and cut out some of the images I'm going to use, and it's not because I needed to do any special skills to stamp them. It's just that I wanted to cut them out to use within the project, and rather than you watch me stamp and then cut everything out, I thought I'd get some of the bits and pieces prepped in advance. So I'm just going to move them to one side and start with our background. So taking the smaller oval, I'll move these bits and pieces out of the way. I'm going to begin, this is going to be the furthest part of my card, so it's going to come away from me. And I'm going to have this cute little owl character within there. But I don't want him to be sitting here as he is. I'm just going to create a background around him using some of the smaller accessory stamps. And I've chosen to use one of the little flowers, one of the leaves, sorry, that's my mats, I'll move them, and the toadstool. And I'm going to use those to create a bigger background. Right, that's definitely my background finished. I'm now going to tidy up this away, and then we'll bring in the characters and start colouring them up. Right, here are all the different characters that are going to make part of my project. And I'm going to start off with the owl. I'm going to use some of the Nuvo Aqua pencils just to bring a little bit of detail, but you could easily still use the Aquaflows. The pencils will give a softer look, but they also give a nice chalky feel. Right, that's a lot of my colouring elements done. I'm going to put them to one side, and then we're going to start about layering up the card and looking about different other elements that we're going to add so we can then add our characters on top. So I'm just going to tidy away a few bits and I'll be back. Right, onto the layer that's going to be standing proud, that's going to have some of our characters. So this layer will sit behind it and we need this layer to come forward, but we just need to give it a little bit of colour, not too much. And I just want to do the lower half where the critters, the little animals, are going to be sitting or standing, just so they've got somewhere to be actually based. Otherwise they don't look grounded. Now I'm only going to put a rough layer of colour down because I will add to it once I've worked out where they're going to be and, you know, what other decoration I'm going to add on top. So I'm just doing a loose watercolouring. Okay, and that is all I'm going to do. So I'm just going to put it to one side. I'm just going to let it dry. Now onto some extra little bits of detail. I'm using up scraps of my watercolour card because I actually don't need a large amount and I'm only making faux backgrounds. And I'm going to start using the flower and the leaf that I did previously so everything ties in. Okay, so that's those bits done. So I haven't, again, done them so they're too overly fussily coloured, and I will add more detail to it. I like to add the detail after I've made things to see if I need to add a little bit more or take a bit away from it. So we've got most of the elements coloured up. So what I'm going to do now is gather everything together and we'll actually make the card itself. Okay, I'm back. So I've got all the little bits and pieces that I want to use to create my card. The only thing I haven't done is stamped my sentiment yet, but we'll see how we feel as we go along. Right, so this layer here I want to actually layer up. So I'm just going to put some 3D foam on the back. I've just cut some strips just for now and we'll get them in place. And let's get some more strips. Let's just go along the bottom. And there we go. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to these just so I've got a little bit of movement until I've actually got it in place. Whoops. So let's get that done. Right, and I've just left a little border around the outside. That mark there, I'm just going to rub away. So, the composition of the card. So this panel here will be going into the centre. So we'll just add that now. and then it becomes slightly recessed. Let's just put that in. I'm just having to hold it down a little bit longer because, one, it's watercolour card, so it's a little bit heavier, and because of the beautiful little PK dots on it, I just want to make sure the glue gets inside of those. Right, okay. Now, this is when I was talking about the different composition that I wanted to actually do. So, I'd like my owl, I'd like my little raccoon to go there, and I thought it'd be nice if my fox was down here. So that they're all in a sort of shape, but they're not right on top of each other. So each one gets its own space, as it were. To cover up some of the white, this is where these little bits have actually come in, because I can now trim them down, but I've now created some more bushes. So they can tuck in there, and I can trim down a little bit more or trim away. So that layers it up, so I might trim that one away. I've got another one here, which can go into there, and then my fox can be there. So I can layer those up on foam pads as well. And I've got my parcels, so I can actually put one of the parcels there. Let's have one behind their back. And, oh, I tell you what, I'm going to swap that around to there. And maybe have that one there. And then I've got some of the little toadstool shapes. Now this bit here that I counted, I just want to make another layer so I can have that in front. So it looks like there's more layers going on, and the card looks staggered just by adding these little embellishments. Now I like to do a dry run before I stick everything down, just so I can see if I want to add things or take things away. Right, so that's the composition of my card that I would like to do. And now I can see if there's any where I need to add a little bit more detail or less detail. One thing is I am going to stick his feet down because they're just floating in no man's land at the moment. I'll just hold that there on that side, and I'm going to do the same on the raccoons here. I'm just going to bring in a couple of my Aqua flows and just add a little bit more shading. Alright, that's my finished card. The only thing we've got left to do is now to do the sentiment. And that's it. That's my finished card. So I've created a card by just using some of the smaller elements, if you can see there, to create more of a shadow, more of a depth, and to make it look as if right in the background here it's going off into a distant meadow. And these are the wonderful little critters. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you thoroughly enjoy going on the blog hop, looking around at everybody else's makes for the new Garden Party release. Thank you for popping over. Don't forget to leave a comment on everyone's blogs, including my own, to be in with the chance for a prize draw. See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.